Hi guys, good afternoon. I hope I'm not the one who's stopping you from lunch, so not at all. Okay, thank you. Uh, we've been hearing about AI and agentic AI, and we've been talking about all these things. Uh, what we've started doing, we are network intelligence, and what we've started doing is using it in our day-to-day operations. Smaller pieces, and we are building larger pieces, and we are connecting the dots and helping the organizations do their job better. uh, this is what you have on the left side is the present set of tools, the complexity that comes along with it. You have a SIM, you have a SOAR, you have vulnerability, your gateway proxies, your CNAPs, your CSPMs, etc., etc., etc. All of them talk to each other. All of them are independently AI enabled. All of them work beautifully. But the resultant set, as somebody spoke earlier, is still assurance and not compliance. And that somehow, with a huge amount of volume of data that comes to you, the assurance will come only when all of them start talking to it in some kind of simple terms using AI and using agentic AI as of now. So what I'll try to do in this conversation is, unravel the complexity that we have today between generative AI and agentic AI. We've been looking at the resultant set. I thought, let me just go a little under the hood and explain what is the difference between generative AI and agentic AI. So generative AI, all of us, I'm very sure, have been using it, and I think most of us have started improving our WhatsApp messages also using generative AI. So we create text, images, but it is reactive. What we are doing is, we as a person sitting in front become the reasoning or the logical analyst. So we push something, we send out a prompt, the data comes out, we look at it, we analyze, we realize what it is, we change the prompt and send it again. Some of us who are a little smarter have started using multiple generative AI tools and using adversarial things. Pick up something from here, go to the other person and say, critically acclaim, test it and come back and do this. Now it is review, refine, and direct, manual. What agentic AI does, it is proactive. It leverages the same LLM, by the way. Internally or at the back of the place, it leverages the same LLM, but it uses the LLM as a human or as a reasoning agent or as an adversarial thing that I spoke about. So it thinks and it provides outcomes. It perceives, decides, and that is what is written there, decides, executes, and learns, and then creates the thing that you're looking for. So it's the brain which is sitting behind, and as we all said, it is automated threat detection. And I'll show you an example as to how we have done this with almost 3 million alerts that came in. How did we exactly come out to say what was the issue? Was there even an issue or not? Automated incident response and predictive analysis, as we've all seen. So this is a small thing that we're using in our SOC. It is. Let me just start the video. Yeah. So what it does is, it is using a custom GPT. Now, what it takes is, it takes the prompt, it leverages RAG, which is retrieval augmentation and generation. It picks up a template from a report which is published. It picks up the logs and generates a report with all the things that you need. We have trained this custom GPT to behave like this. It is just an example, but this is how we do it for a lot of cases. And we've reduced our people strength, and most of you know about network intelligence. Most of you, a lot of you are our customers. We've reduced the number of L1s which are sitting there, by a huge amount, and that saves time, that delivers faster, and the whole process is much more efficient. So, from a data standpoint, if somebody is thinking about it, now, if it is a custom GPT or it is a created GPT or it uses APIs, as per the legal terms and conditions of ChatGPT, the data is not used by those guys for training. So the data stays with us, the data stays there, and the RAG technique is leveraged here for this work. So it generates the report automatically. We have created a lot of these custom GPTs, and we are building a lot of automation tools to help do our audits faster and in lesser time. we are expecting that we will save about 30% of time, for each of the audits that we do or each of those assessments that we do. And something I'll talk about SOC alerts as we move along. This is a standard diagram that you see is what, a SIM does, and then a SOAR does. It goes to firewall, it goes to proxy, it takes EDR, etc. But the beauty of this screen that comes up is dynamic context-aware decision making. All of you have multiple lines of businesses. Like if you come from a very specialist organization which does one work, then life becomes very easy. One set of policy applies to everybody. But if you have to change your policies for one line of business, so BFSI, you do something, typically from a services environment or a manufacturing environment where different things are being manufactured, you cannot apply the same rule which the tools give you in one place. This is where the context-aware, decision making, automated decision making helps you out. And this is the example that I was talking about, and I'll take some time on this. If you see on top, it is almost 3.1 million events that were triggered. Typical SOC environment, 3.1 million events triggered. What you see in the top part of this is what a typical L1 or L2 sitting there do. They analyzed all those events. The SIM correlated all these events, and it said that it is probably a Trojan EC2 DGA domain request. So domain is your dynamic generation algorithm, generation algorithm. So it generates domains randomly, and it keeps throwing up. And it says the confidence of false positive is relatively low because of DGA domain request. So it's an alert, guys, wake up, start working on it immediately. There are 3 million events. Look at your firewalls, look at your proxies, look at your emails, start looking at your EDRs. Are you hurt somewhere? Is there a data exfiltration happening, and all that stuff. Now, when you push this to AI with a tuned thing, you push this to AI with a tuned thing, what it does is it goes through all the events and it finds out the word simulate, which is a breach attack simulation. And in less than a second, it tells you, guys, nothing to worry about. It's a false positive. You are using breach attack simulation internally. We do red teaming. If you are not doing purple teaming or something, the SOC team does not know what to do and how to behave. So this is where actually leveraging AI brings in the change and tells you what you actually need to do. Whether you actually need to do anything or not also comes out like this. So a very, very classic example that we have started using in our SOC environment. We do services for a lot of people, and people are coming back and saying that it is making a difference. So, we started off by talking about the complexities. Not a scary thing, but if you look on the left-hand side, is what a typical CISO organization looks like. You have a GRC team, you have security, architecture, engineering, SOC manager, network security, GRC, and the team keeps expanding. A typical organization for about 10,000 people generally has a security team, if they have an in-house SOC, comes in between 25 to 40 people. The decision making is still, at a lot of places, manual. Now, with agentic AI, with the agents going all over the place and doing the work for you, it's kind of a chain of events that instead of one person doing something, you spawn a particular user into multiple things. They go do all these things, they do the analysis, and we use LLMs to actually talk to the agents, do a reasoning, do a decision making, and then drive the conversation. The function of CISO is going to reduce like this. Now, it is not taking away anybody's jobs. And I'll go back to when the Microsoft Excel came in, people said the accountants are going to go out of job. That never happened. It is Wherever there is a repetitive job of about 50%, those jobs are going to become redundant. But yes, the utilization and much better use of AI will come in to drive those jobs. Talking of risk, we've seen earlier that we've talked about all these risks. What happens when you use agentic AI? We are looking at agents or people being spawned and sent out and doing those jobs in series, decision making, etc. What happens from the risk perspective? The speaker before me was talking about the security of AI and AI security. So the security of AI, the risk that comes in with agentic AI is an autonomous goal drift. The LLM, since it is allowed to reason and think, it can re-optimize its objectives. Adversarial self-improvement, like we use adversarial, capabilities of AI to help us improve our own papers, improve our own work. It can leverage that, and it can go to open source. It can go to different things, get malicious code, which is one of the largest risks. If it is picking up the code itself, it could be a malicious one, and it can start changing the whole way it is working. It can do privilege escalation. It can start harming your own systems. You need to look at sandboxing, no OS level, so micro segmentation and zero trust networks at a very, very finite level to ensure that the things work the way they're supposed to be working. And data exfiltration, the data to the LLM for learning and the data being used by the AI models for learning, and stealthily it can exfiltrate also. So all these things need to be in place when you start using AI. It is not a fad that we all start doing AI for the sake of doing AI, but it should be with some kind of risk management, that this is what it is doing, going down to the very, very basics of how the data is flowing and working around that. And how you can do that, yes, there are some controls that I've written on top, but overall, implementing responsible AI, what you see on the bottom part of the right-hand side, is what you need to implement. Responsible AI, that means your AI models should be based on the ethical AI principles. No bias, explainability. You can find out what the model actually does. Is it doing what it is supposed to be doing? And testing that again and again. Sadly, responsible AI, lot of manual processes, but somehow the tools are yet to evolve into a very good space. But even if you do a manual testing, you will come to know how the output is coming, and a lot of manual check whether those things are required or not required to set the responsible AI implementation being done in place. Governance frameworks, it's a anyway given thing. So with this, I think I finished my presentation. We are outside. If anybody wants to understand, we are into a space of governance, risk compliance, audits, assessments, and one of the oldest companies in this space in India. Happy to help, and thank you so much for patient listening. Thank you. Bye-bye.